Okay, welcome back, everybody. And welcome to our public for anyone who's joining us. And welcome Trustee Sirois for the afternoon. So we're on item number 4.9. So I'll pass this to Charlie to introduce it, and then I do have some comments before we make any motions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So you have before you a little bit of a background. Now, in the board's annual work plan, this paying of ASCA fees was in August. However, it was only moved there a couple of years ago, and I don't know if trustees recall, but there was a time there where the ASCA was making some motions that were almost in trustee realm, and Trustee Bannard had asked that we not make a decision to support ASCA until we had more information. Prior to that time frame, we typically approve this before the school year end. And that's because ASCA does invoice us, as you can see in this invoice, in June. So it makes better sense to deal with it here. So later on in the meeting, you'll see I've made a proposed adjustment to the work plan. But before you today, there are two motions. One is to support the membership renewal of the school councils within our division 10, because the outreach doesn't have, or no, it is 11. The outreach doesn't have a school council. And then the second one is the longstanding tradition of the board to support attendance of 2 members from school councils to attend the annual general meeting and conference. So I guess I'll leave, Madam Chair, you were going to make some comments. I know you had communicated with me about the fee increase, but other than that, it's pretty much business as usual. These are standard motions you've approved year after year. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So just a couple of things to note. So the fees went up by 66%. So typically they are $60 a school and they went up to $100. Now, if you recall, ASCA does not get that grant anymore, but that grant was specific to them building up resources to serve school councils. So it was about, I think it was about $600,000 or so. So they do not get that grant anymore because they actually did the work that the grant was set out to support them to do. But now some of their advocacy is, you know, they don't have the grant, so they have to increase fees. But their work plan should have adjusted, you know, really in, you know, I mean, I don't know all the details. I'm not, I don't keep up with ASCA, but their work plan, I would expect, would have adjusted to accommodate that they've done the work to provide the resources needed for school councils. And then they would have to scale back to their regular business. But as I said, I don't know all the details, but it is $100 per school, and we definitely are supportive of our school councils having access to those resources. So apparently with the membership fee, the same services are accessible by school councils as they were before, but the fee is increased. Now, I do know, as far as I know, not all our schools would access ASCA. They would not be using them. But it's not that we wouldn't want them to have that opportunity as well. There's, you know, there's that argument to it. But for the second motion about the AGM, so if you read through the letter, you would have noticed that they've made a lot of changes. They're considering different things. They made changes this past year. Their delivery of their engagement with their school councils may look different going forward. We don't know that for sure. It looks like they're going to outline it in the welcome letter. Like they may have an engagement piece of some sort in the fall, and then their AGM in the spring as well. And the costs might not be the same. And if they're looking at increasing costs for their membership, they may be looking at increased costs for their AGM. So for us to assume that it's the same budget for the AGM, I think it would be kind of premature to consider that. So the second motion, I'm just asking for consideration that perhaps, we should wait until if we do pass the first motion and we do get the welcome letter and we have more information on what their plan is for the year for school councils and their engagement with school councils, perhaps that motion would look different in the fall. So anyhow, just a couple of things I'm pointing out. Any comments or considerations?
Sure.
Trustee
So-
Serwa? Yep.
Thank you. So the reason for the increase is because they're not getting the grant? Is that the main reason?
Well, it could be. I mean, they've evolved to be a very like high functioning organization to support school councils. So they've had increased costs, but they actually and they have reduced revenue as well because of I don't know if it's directly related to the grant. I mean, they should have been using the grant as it was prescribed to build the resources needed for school councils and now they feel like they need to increase membership fees I don't know if it's really related to the lack of the grant. I'm trying to remember if they've actually touched on that.
Madam Chair, it's related to the grant.
Yeah. So it's an increase in fees. However, it's come about. They don't get that grant anymore. They do want to continue to serve their school councils in the same way and continuously improve, I suppose. But it is an increase.
Thank you.
Anybody else with a comment?
Yeah.
Or
So, Madam
question?
Chair.
Trustee Afon?
Thank you. Madam Chair, I believe so. ASCA have got themselves to a place that they need to reevaluate themselves and do the proper work that they are legislated to do. All of these increments that is coming, I believe so, is from that reduction of grant work that was supposed to be completed probably a couple of long years ago, and then that didn't have happened. They've morphed into something else, and that is causing a lot of yanks, which they do understand and know. And hopefully, this is the starting point that they are scaling back some of what they are legislated to do and do that properly and not move like they become so political. And that is not just here. They become so political, and that is very evident in some of their comments and statements that they were putting out. All of that being said, I was also in the same line of thought as you to hold off the support to the conference and then move one motion up. Yes, our school councils will need some of those resources and will belong, and we can support that, but not knowing enough about changes that are coming during the conference will be very premature for us to approve something that we don't know the associated cost that is coming to it. So I will end it that way.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from trustees?
I did.
Trustee Tugwood? Yep.
Just for the first one, so that is $100 per school, so it would be $1,200 for us. Is that correct?
1,100.
Okay. I was thinking, okay. Then the second one, I agree with Henry to wait and to see just what the expenses will be. But I also had a question. It said 2 members from each division school council. So that could be 22?
Mm-hmm.
Could be. Okay, yeah, I agree. Let's wait and find out just what we're, I know we never, it's been kind of in the past, there hasn't been 2 from each school. It's been far less. And did we not have a cap on that, or maybe not?
No, we've always let it, we've always had this this motion and support 2 members, but there's not full uptake on it.
Yeah,
But we always want to demonstrate that we do support school councils attending this AGM.
right.
I mean, now there is options to attend it virtually, so the costs go down, but how it goes forward, it could be very different how they go forward. So this motion may not be the second one may not be applicable for the upcoming school year until we know what their plan is for the year.
Thank you.
So, and there was, I did hear from one school council chair that there may be like a fall event, and there would be a registration fee for that. So, anyhow, so we have 2 motions. Is there somebody willing to make that first motion?
I can make the first motion, and as agreed, we'll just leave the second as we've agreed on. That the board provide for the ASCA membership fees to the ASCA for all division school councils for 2021-22 school year.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's carried unanimously. Do we want a letter to go with this at all? Just saying that, we note that the increase has been quite substantial. And that we would appreciate that be considered, going forward. Do we want a letter to go with that, or are we satisfied that they're asking the right amount?
We're not satisfied, but we're supporting. This is the first increment we've seen. So I'll just leave it as is and see what happens next year. If they haven't restructured and re-looked at their operations and how, like I said, the other associated advocacies and political stance they've taken, then we can send that letter at that time. Thank you.
Okay, I see heads nodding, so we'll go with that then. Okay, so the second motion can come back in October probably, because I think or whenever we receive the welcome letter, bring the second motion back when we have an outline of what the costs or what the schedule is and costs involved for school councils to attend ASCA events. Okay, if we move to committee reports under audit, so we have a couple of dates that we have to pick out. Edward, do you have some comments on this about what would work?
Looking at the board meeting dates, I know we've tried to combine the audit committee with a regularly scheduled board meeting, either before or after, I guess. My comment is either to look at August 15th or September 15th for an audit committee report. I've talked to our auditor and Mr. Pfeiffer, and either of those dates will work for them prior to the commencement of their audit work. They will likely start field work in October, so those dates will work at this point in time. And that meeting usually outlines the scope and identifies materiality for the audit to the audit committee.
Okay, if I could get a thumbs up for August 15th, would everybody be in favor of August 15th?
August 25th?
Or sorry, August 25th.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so we'll go with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 5.3, labor. Trustee Effon.
Hello, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, and Charlie, as well as Sean will know this, there's been a lot of background work, ongoing work with TIBA there based on the negotiations that are happening. So the brief of it is that the parties, ATA and TIBA, met June 9th and 10th and went through some labor arbitration. Right now, they are waiting for another discussion as of June 30th. And then we'll wait for the reports in August, in July or August. And this is the arbitration on the list of items that I did provide some time. And to not downplay all of this, it really has been a very intense situation between AT and TIBA, and we'll leave it as such, and that is ongoing. There's a lot of background work that is happening. I know we've shortened up some of our meetings to half-day meetings, just to bring trustees on board and to give a lot of understanding as to the way things are happening. And again, we don't know until July or August to look at the final listing. And like Ed did allude to, we wouldn't know any of some of these courses that are coming until that time or into the fall when this arbitration and everything is now clear, and then we will know the impact as to what will be happening during our negotiations. So we are still operating under the 2020 expired agreement. Okay, that's the shortest of it. So this is from our public, and that's it. Thank you. Any question? No technical questions. Okay. I can't hear you, Madam Chair.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Anyhow, just going to 5.7. Trustee Svidich, did you have a comment regarding policy?
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at the agenda here. So we met on May 26th, myself, Henry, Liz, and Charlie. Yeah, we didn't talk about anything else over and above the policies that we talked about, policy 7, 5, and 13.4. Yeah, so no, there's nothing to add there, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry. Before we move on, Madam Chair, we will be setting up another date pretty soon. And Mr. Bouchard, if you don't mind, sending up those doodles so we can pick up and clean up the policy that came and went back before our August meeting, please. Thank you.
Just with that, Madam Chair and Trustee Effon, is it the intention of the committee to meet before next Tuesday? Otherwise, I'm on vacation.
Yeah, there's a lot of vacation happening.
When you come back, please.
So that will be in August then.
Yes, the first week of August, probably. Okay, thank you.
Okay, 5.8, ASBA. So there's not, we had our last meeting there May 21st. The June meeting was canceled because there are just not enough items to carry forward. And the trustee booklet will be ready shortly from all our coffee conversation advocacy. So that'll be a resource for trustees and potential trustees. Just regarding the Honoring Spirit Indigenous Awards, so that video was just recently sent out. I'm just wondering if we had any nominees this year. Because I didn't hear that they did the honorable mention. So
we had no nominees to my knowledge.
Okay. Okay. And the other item is our spring meeting. Do we want, again, to send the letters to our MLAs in regards to the past motions? We have tried to start that as an item that we do after these meetings, and it does help inform our MLAs about what has happened at the provincial level. And our provincial ASBA is taking that forward to the minister. So it does help inform our local MLAs. Just wondering if we want to continue on with that. I'm just waiting to get the actual, the write-up of what was passed. So I did request it.
I believe so. That has been a past practice that we want to continue. So
Yeah, I think it's good. It keeps our MLAs informed. So the position statements that were passed will, once I get them, if we can send them, or I'll send them to Charlie, and just that quick letter to our MLAs to inform them of those position statements. And then our star motion or resolution, like it did go forward as emergent, but it was defeated on the floor. It was mostly because of the metros. So because we didn't have the Metro Board support. So it will go forward to the fall general meeting, and the ASB Advocacy Committee will be looking at the wording around that and just trying to understand what we're trying to encompass in our motion. So it will go forward for the fall meeting in November. And I think that's everything. Just while we are in these committee reports, we did strike out ACSTA, so yeah, but I was just going to put a shout out to ACSTA about thanking them for their advocacy in regards to Bill 51, the Citizens Act. So that amendment did go through. So that was very important for Catholic education. So just a shout out to them. And now we're on to 6.1 in-camera items. So I'll need somebody to move us in camera. And
Move us in camera, Madam Chair.
okay, thank you. And trustees and superintendent invited to stay, please.